are 75% water.
Correct.
Right. Your blood is 94% water, your brain 85% water. All your organs are water, a certain amount of whole water. Now you need good, clean, free water to assist the kidneys, the lungs, the livers, and all those to perform its functions on a daily basis. You also need the minerals in the water so that you form new cells daily, and you need those minerals to do it. Now we lose from the time we get up in the morning till we go to sleep again. I'm not talking a normal person, I'm talking a person that's religiously training and cycling and in the sun all the time. 350 mils for every 10 k's that you weigh. So a guy that's 100 lose 3.5 liters a day. He must replace it. How did God give it to us to replace? I'm talking now when it started and the way it is. He created us like this. Then he gave us rain, which was distilled water coming from the heavens, come down, went through storms, microstructured the molecules of the water. Then that microstructured molecules went through the earth. It's hungry and it wants to bind. So it binded with the minerals in the earth, the exact same minerals, percentage, proportion as what our bodies are made of. And that's the water that was freely available. If you look at Bible times, when the Israelis went through the desert, when they needed water, they got the birds and they got the manna. Then when they needed water, God didn't say to them, make skins and then catch the rain, I'll send you rain. Moses had to hit against the rock for the water to come out there. When Jesus himself walked on this earth, he didn't go to the mountains where he was praying for the water. He went to the to the wells where the woman was getting it from there, because the water had to go through the earth to collect the minerals so it can be useful. Now that water is the exact water that women used to drink when they used to give babies at home. The woman used to get baby at home. Within 2 hours she was strong enough to take that baby, which was also healthy, not in an incubator, show the whole family, carry on with the word, and then breastfeed the baby for 2 years. That was the norm. Today, 70% is cesareans. A lot of women lose their babies. A lot of babies are pre-born, and then a lot of complications. Why is it like that? In the olden days, the water that the woman drank supplied the minerals that the kid took from the woman's body. And at the same time when she was breastfeeding. Now the waters are dirty, the waters are no good state, they've got no minerals in, there's nothing in them, so they can't, so they go pharmaceutical, they supplement, try and supplement. What percentage of what are you using? And that's all, it just depends on who's the best advertiser. Nothing to do with the health thing. That is when we come and said we want to make water, that water is healthy for the human body the way it used to be right in the beginning. Then we come and say, well, what's wrong with South African water? They say we can open a tap and we can drink it. So let's investigate South African water. Anthony Ketton, Vice President, Water International Worldwide. He worked at the CSIR, and they asked him, give us a report on South African water. And then he gave the report. It's on our website, which he calls South Africa's Inconvenient Truth. What he said in the, and there's that 5 of South Africa major dams of the most toxic in the world. Our sewage plants are not working. What had happened pre-94? We had 3 top engineers at every sewage plant to make sure it's clean. Why was it so important? The sewage is antivirals people use. It's the drugs that people take. It is the hormone injections. It's the toxic waste out of sick people's bodies. It's the birth controls. It is the cortisones and the antibiotics. That's just in our human bodies that come out. Now we go to the slaughterhouses, where they slaughter the animals. All the injections the animals get for better performance, and if they got measles or not, and they're sick or not, their blood also goes to the sewage plant. And then all the industrial waste. Now, those times we had 3 top engineers at every sewage plant to make sure it works perfect. Then 94 happened, and after 94, staff changed, so that by the time of 2008, of the 3,000 top engineers that was at every plant, there were only 15 left in the country, 15. There are none now of those guys, are none there. And the people that took over are not qualified people, so they didn't keep up the machinery. But also, what Ditton shows in his report is that the government also didn't allow enough money for the keep up, because they thought it was, it's a waste of money to do that. All right, fair enough. But that is not the main problem. So those sewage plants are inadequate. Besides the fact that they're inadequate, we open our borders. And when we open our borders, we had an influx of people. So our population almost doubled. But now that also means that our sewage doubled. So now plants, instead of not working, it's too small. And they never upgraded. That's why the sewage plants in this country just don't work. They fired Turton when he did, they said he's a whistleblower. In 2012, the Vaal River looked like that for 10 kilometers up. Then the Department of Water Affairs was asked, give us a report on South African water, because they thought it was okay. So they're going to get a great on the sanitation, and here's the report. About 80% of the wastewater treatment works in South Africa on the verge of collapse. According to the report recently released, the report on the quality of the sanity in the country was set by the Department of Water Affairs, Housing, Cooperative Government, and Department of Performance Evaluation, Presidency and National Treasury. According to the report, particularly worrying that only 40 of the 826 plants are working. And then they go on and says nobody wants to take the blame for it. So there's serious sewage in our plant. But that is not the only problem. There's a second thing that's in the water that kills people, that causes cancer and everything, which everybody ignores because it's a radioactive isotope which gives electrical impulses all the time. Where does it come from? Acid manganese water is pumped into SA water sources. It's a hazardous toxic waste, a heavy metal toxic soup, SA's own Chernobyl. This water is biologically dead. The sediment is radioactive and the pH so low is dissolved in a range of metals including arsenic, uranium, iron, manganese and nickel. In 2008 it was 30 million liters per day, pH -3 radioactive. In 2010, 140 million liters per day. Now I want to put this precipitator on. It separates water from what's not water, so we can see what's actually going on in our tap water. But seeing the problem that we have there, what does it mean in our lives? It means the following thing. The maximum uranium level in SA tap water is set at 70 micrograms per liter, but that's much higher than the 15 micrograms per liter which World Health Organization stipulates. And cancer causing starts at 40. We're at 70. Professor Karel Albrecht, main researcher of the Cancer Association of South Africa, he says SA standards for uranium in deposit in South Africa is 70 micrograms per liter, which is bizarre high. The World Health Organization standard for uranium deposit is 15 micrograms. Surely it's irresponsible to differ so largely from world standards. Now, Dr. Joe Barnes from the University of Stellenbosch, which is far away from us. Remember the underground tables, mixes and the rivers and everything runs to the sea. She says, little is known about the potential effects stemming from the mixing of acid manganese, already contaminated water. There's total ignorance what's going to happen when mine water hits the other problem we have, which is sewage-laden water. What the toxic component and the mine drainage will do to the sewage and the resultant health effects in the short and long term will come from this unholy mix nobody knows. And this unholy mix, you're going to see it properly just now. But she goes on and she says, we are not very good at protecting the low-level long-term uranium exposure. If you contract little bits of it every day for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we will see a drastic rise in cancers. We have to start preparing now. And then Professor Frank Winder of the Northwest University, he puts it like this. Uranium only does damage, and all agencies state that our knowledge about the health effects and long-term low-dose exposure to uranium-polluted water is not well understood. Uranium has been linked to lung, bone and other types of cancers, including leukemia, kidney failure, neurological defects, including learning disabilities. And here, Professor Winder wrote a 58-page scientific report explaining exactly what uranium is and what it does to little children's brains. That is why all the little children, every second, third child, ADD and ADHD. It causes Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, and it causes cancer in people's bodies. Nobody in this country takes it out. And that is the bad thing about it. It's in your Coke, it's in your Fanta, it's in everywhere. But he goes on, and then he says, immune suppression, birth defects, respiratory infections, skin and eye allergies. According to the World Health Organization, the most recent uranium has been found due an endocrine disruption compound. It disturbs the natural activity of hormones. And I want to stop there for a second. Look how many people's hormones are completely in disarray. Look how many bisexual and homos and all these people we get. the hormones in their bodies is done. Potentially affecting the reproductive and your immune function. How many people are sick? The immune systems are down. But the reproductive, how many young people of today trying to get pregnant, married people, and they can't? And acting as a carcinogen. Now it was at this point that we said, well, it doesn't matter what we do. If we're going to clean water, the first thing we must do is get rid of the high levels of uranium. Because if we do not get rid of the high levels of uranium, we're doing no favor. We're not some water. So we said, well, let's look what happened in Chernobyl and 3 Mile Isle when the explosions happened and those people were riddled with radiation. They gave them zeolite to drink. And zeolite is volcanic ash that burst out of volcanoes thousands of years ago and went and laid in seabeds, and it formed a mineral called zeolite that looks like this under a microscope. It is strongly negatively charged in its own right, and it's got little holes in. So they gave the people the powder to drink. When they gave them the powder to drink, within 1 day, they lost up to 30% of the radiation in their bodies. They cleaned the people up like that. Then they went and cleaned the animals up like that. Then they went and put it in the rivers and dams and took it out and in and out so that they could clean that up, and that is how they cleaned up Chernobyl. So what we have done, we went and we made filters up and formed filters that is an isogram filter which takes out all the positive isotopes out. That's in our first stage of all our filtration properties. Then thereafter we go and take out the sewage. But this process is finished now. I just want to show you, point something out to you here. If I hold this like that, you see the brown color on top?
Yeah.
Just look at the acetone drainage on the pamphlet there. Do you see the brown, the green and then all the bubbles?
Yes.
I'm sure at the Yukska you've seen it as well. The Yukska in Yama as the hen observer. That is raw sewage, and the others is high levels of uranium. So that is what is in all our water. So we make sure we take that out first. But after we've taken that out, we put it through a reverse osmosis process. The only reason this one has got a little bit of color is because this probe, I use it either way.
Yes.
So there's a bit of residue on it that causes it. Now then we need to get the sewage out. And the only way to get the sewage out is through a reverse osmosis process. And what the main thing about the reverse osmosis process is the membrane. You've got pre-filters to Albert, and then after the pre-filters, you have a membrane. And the membrane is layers and layers and layers across with thousands of little holes in. The water gets pressed in from this side at a certain bar pressure. And a homemade one, it needs to be 3 bar, and an industrial one up 4 to 5 to 6 bar. So it goes there, and then it turns the water into clear water. It does the reverse process in the inside. The sewage come out on the one side, the water with all the sewage and stuff out, and the clean water comes out, and now you have clean water up to 0.0001 of a micron clean. It's pure clean water, but that is dead water. Okay. That's the same water you put in your car's battery, in your iron. You can wash your car with it, you put it in a fish tank. If you drink it, that water is hungry and it wants to bind, and that will bind in your body with the minerals in your body, and it will go out of your body every time you go to the toilet. If you drink minerals or you drink supplements and you drink it with reverse osmosis water, that reverse osmosis water binds with what you've just drank, and 6 hours later it's out of your body and you've actually bought yourself expensive urine. And that is continuously happening. That is why people stay sick. They can buy all the stuff they want. They can spend all their money on supplements. They can go to doctors. It might help them for a short while. But because their bodies are not properly hydrated, like the way God intended with us, first of all, He gave us our bodies 75% water. Then He gave us the water clean and right. You drank the water, your body was healthy. Look how the people were in the olden days. Even in, let's talk 50, 60 years ago, how much healthier people were before we really started messing the water up. And what we then do is we say we've got to get the minerals back into here. Where do you find those minerals? The easiest way to think is the water goes from the heaven, goes through the earth, goes into the rivers, all the rivers run to the sea. The sun only takes the moisture out, so that a lot of minerals stay behind. That's why the sea is salty. And the sea always was a very clean place, not anymore. Because the sea is just as big a rubbish dump as what the earth is on the moment. So you can't use that. So, well, where are we going to find this? And then you come across in the Himalayan mountains. What happened in the Himalayan mountains thousands of years ago, there was clean, pure water with the minerals, everything, and then the plates of the earth moved. And when it moved those mountains up so high, and it squeezed out all the moisture out of it, and only the minerals and trace elements stayed behind. That's why the Himalayan mountains are so high, nobody can live on top of it. You can't live on Everest, you can't live on the Himalayas. Nobody stays there to pollute it. So it's the most purest form of the minerals that was formed thousands of years ago, when the air was clean, underground was clean, and it was done the way God intended it with us. Now the chemical analysis of the Himalayan crystal salt rock, exact percentage proportion, and which is very important, the percentage proportion of what's in there. That chemical analysis of the Himalayan crystal salt rock, and you take a healthy human blood plasma and you do exactly the same test, the result is identical. Because that's where we must get our minerals from water, and not from supplements and not from things. He said, all right, good. Now we can take it. Now we take, there's clean water, let's take the Himalayan salt and put it in there and make a soleil and see if it works. That won't work, because that is a dissolvement. After a while, the minerals will go down again, and that's not the way water was. Your body won't take it as electrical impulses, because why do you need that? Our whole body is an electrical system, and it needs the power from somewhere, and it comes from the minerals. Also, our red blood cells are the cells that must go individually through our body, separated from each other, to transport nutrients, wash out toxins, control blood pressure, control body temperature, and breathe oxygen. To give oxygen to the brain and our body, and it's the outside of a red blood cell that breathes the oxygen. When you drink water without minerals like this, what is going to happen? The red blood cells sitting clogged together, there's no electrical impulses to make them repel each other. Well, the result is you are tired very early in the morning, and you stay tired. Everybody grabs coffee or whatever form of energy drink they drink, which is full of caffeine, dehydrates you further. Then a little while later you need more of it, or chocolates or whatever is on the market that the people buy. Whereas if they had the right water, it would have been different. And as to come back to your question, if you go in the morning, first thing in the morning, and you take a 500 ml of that hydration boost, and you make it lukewarm, and you drink that before you drink anything, you're supplying your body with a lot of minerals, and you then drink for your body weight for the rest of the day. For your body weight the rest of the night. Let it be 3 liters, let's say if it could be 3 liters or 2.5 liters, depends on the body weight. And you do that for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, go a whole month through. What will happen is, your body gets filled with minerals, your whole body gets hydrated, your colon fills up again, because what happens is if you don't get the minerals, your mind needs to look after the kidneys, the liver and the lungs. It will fetch the water from the colon, so your colon is unstable, and the minute your colon is unstable, constipation starts, irritable bowel syndrome, colon cancer. How many people are not sitting with constipation? Seriously, it's because they are dehydrated. If you then do that without drink the water like that, your body fills up, all your cells are hydrated, your brain don't go and fetch the water from your colon anymore because it's satisfied, it's getting what it needs to give to the people, and boom bang, your whole digestive system works normally. It will come back to normal, and you'll have relief from constipation and all those things. And it's happened, I've had many results of it here. But now the thing is, now we've got to get that minerals in the right way. It's got to be part and parcel of the molecule structure of the water, otherwise it's no good. Because your body will take that and just chuck the rest out, and then there's none of it. For example, what happened in nature? How did God give it to us? He gave us distilled water. It came down and went through storms, microstructured it, and then it went to connect with the minerals. So said, all right, then we take this water and we distill it. After we distill it, we put it in a microstructuring process. And after it's gone through that process, we then add the Himalayan salt with it. Then it takes 48 hours, and that salt is no more salt than it's minerals. But it's part and parcel of the molecule structure of the water. But then it's still pink. Why is it pink? The crabs, the crayfish, and all the animals that are in there, is their shells that causes that. So then we go and we put through special porous glass filters. We put it through there various times until it actually just drips like that. That's a long process to clean it. And on the end we have clean, pure, just the minerals and trace elements. That was found thousands of years ago. The same minerals and trace minerals our bodies are made of, and then we add that to the clear water, and then you have the same water that people used to drink thousands of years ago. That's where we then do a youth water, or we do a hydration water. Let's say you are seriously dehydrated, had diarrhea, or you haven't been hydrated for a long time, or you haven't had enough of the water with the minerals, and you're actually partially dehydrated, getting headaches and that sort of thing, you can add more minerals. So we have a youth water where we put the minerals in 7 milliliters to a liter, and then we have the hydration boost where we put 15 milliliters to a liter to really give you a boost of electrolytes. But just taste this, just taste this, guys. That is pure, the minerals and it's a concentrate, so it's strong, salty.
Tastes like the sea.
Well, exactly, the sea is minerals. All right, but now I want to show you guys something very interesting.
I don't mind it.
Our red blood cells are the one that is very important to go through our body to do the things. Now, water is life. Am I right? That is what we learned from the day we opened our eyes. That is 220 power. That is tap water. If I put that into tap water, it should conduct electricity.
Absolutely.
But there's nothing. It's dead. In this junk, this unholy mix that's here, they put so much chemicals, chlorine, aluminium sulfate, fluoride, and I don't know what all, that they put in there so that to kill the bacteria, so we don't get diarrhea from drinking the water, that it killed all the natural minerals and trace, but there's nothing left in there. In fact, that's how dead it is. That's how dead water. Water without minerals is dead. It can't do anything for your body. It's just this unholy mix that's in there. Then we take the minerals that we put back into the water. Now there's life.
It is amazing.
Now if you look on that picture on top there with the blood test style, when you drink water without minerals, your red blood cells are clocked together like that. Then they sludge through your body. So blood pressure becomes a problem. Cholesterol becomes a problem. Tiredness, fatigue, all those things, because there's not enough oxygen in your body. The red blood cells don't move fast enough, and there's not enough outside space around the red blood cells to do it. You get headaches, migraines, fatigue all day, joint pains, lower back pains, constipation, diabetes, and it just carries on and on and on with the ones that come. Yet if you drink the water with the minerals, it gives by electrical impulses, and your red blood cells repel each other, and now they go individually through your body, and it gives you energy. And your body comes back to normal the way God designed your body, without medication. Just water the way it was given to us. There were no medication before. Now we've studied for so many years, and there's all this medical, but why did we need that? Because the water was inadequate, and that causes our bodies to become under stress. Now we needed medication to help. Yet if you'd gone back and just get the right water, you may change the whole situation.
Thank you. Thanks for your education.
No, maybe I answered your question.
Thank you. Yes, you did.